Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes Report for the past 24 hours for the day of 928 for the 8th of September. Time flies, man. And I have updated the mapping. There is now fortifications in more places over in the Sumy region, the Kharkiv region, and then in Bryansk and whatnot. So just some updates. Thanks to some help from Oliver. So anyway, we're gonna go into the frontline changes. There is a lot of frontline changes over the past 24 hours. I would say not as crazy as previous no the many days for the past 2 weeks. So we have frontline changes over at Nedinov, Bolshoye Sodetskoye, Sinkivka, Pischane. These are all the Pischane fronts, Toretsk in the New York front, Nelipivka, New York front, and Vodyane. And so we're going to start off with the breaking news, which is from Vodyane. So based on the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has declared the Russians have captured Vodyane. So the Russian forces according to the Ukrainians, have captured the entire settlement very, very quickly, which means that the Ukrainians did not defend this area at all or much. The Ukrainian forces probably just withdrew because of overwhelming odds that is facing them. And so this is actually a kind of surprise. I did mention that the Russians could attack in multiple directions, and somehow, yeah, it just ended. So very suddenly, there is still a coal mine around here. So who knows? The Ukrainians may hold a defense there, but I doubt so. So anyway, this is the frontline change over at the Vodyane region. So the next frontline change after Vodyane, so we'll go anti-clockwise, is at Nelipivka. So over at the New York front, the situation, according to the Russian mapping, the Russian front line looks like this. So they have actually claimed that the Russian forces has claimed to have taken all of these grounds, and the front line basically cuts at Nelipivka. New York is basically a non-issue on the Russian perspective of the front line or the battle over in the New York front. So only the Ukrainians are still talking about New York, but the Russians, for the Russians, their perspective is that the fighting is now in Nelipivka, and yeah, so this is as per the mapping reflects. So the next frontline change is over at Toretsk. So we finally have some updates from Toretsk. Russian forces geolocated in a new location just off the prison. So in this barn-like building. So in this area here, this confirmed Russian capture of at least the area around the prison. And because from my opinion is that there's no guarantee that they have captured the prison, because prison is basically a fortress. But based on the Russian mapping, they claim that the prison is now already under Russian control. So according to according to Ryba, the pro-Russian source. So this is their claim. We shall continue to monitor the situation over in Toretsk. The progress in Toretsk is very slow as compared to previous times. So I wonder what is up. Is it that the Ukrainians have no reinforcement? We're not so sure. The next frontline change, we jump all the way to the Pischane front. So over the Pischane front, as a Pischane front, based on the Russian mapping, the Russian forces have expanded their control. Over in the south, in the Berestove region, Russian forces have basically straightened the front line around the south of Pischane, and they have claimed to have taken some control or some advance southward from Pischane region. So this is only Russian claim. This is not corroborated on the Ukrainian side or by any other means. In the northern part, there is also some progress with the Russians allegedly taking the road as well as the rest of the tree line in the north of Pischane. So small changes here and there. So it's not exactly super significant per se, but it is progress nevertheless. But still, this I have to emphasize, this is Russian claim. This is not recognized by the Ukrainian side. So we continue to monitor. After Pischane, the next frontline change is over at Sinkivka at the Kupyansk front. According to the Russian perspective, the Russian forces have captured Sinkivka. So this is claimed by Ryber. So we haven't have the Russian Defense Ministry confirmation of this yet, or at least I haven't mapped it yet, so I do not know. So, and in their mapping, they have claimed to take the rest of Sinkivka, and also they have expanded control in the northwest of Sinkivka in the forest region. So the front line looks really tight at this moment, even based on their mapping. It doesn't the settlement doesn't look very secure. So but no, they are jumping the gun and claim the capture. So no, so be it. So we will just put it as a claim. DPA do not recognize the capture just yet. So the next frontline change, we jump all the way to the Kursk front. So over at the Kursk front, these are all small changes. These are not real frontline change per se. So previously the Ukrainians have actually launched this attack down the highway, and fighting was reported in near Bushoysk, according to Ryba. That was like 2 weeks ago, and because it has been 2 weeks and nothing has changed, I look at the Ukrainian mapping. They do not claim any gray zones around here, so I have cut the front line at the point where the gray zone ends. So which means that the front line, the Ukrainian presence is probably only until here. This entire area is firmly under Russian control at this moment. So the front line is here at least. So because the Ukrainian mapping, this area is gray zone. So and the other side, so we still have fighting being reported at Malaya Loknia. So according to the Russian mapping, they claim that the Russians are nearby on this area here, on the eastern part of the highway. So I look at the Ukrainian mapping. The Ukrainian mapping draw this area as a gray zone. So which means I will have to redraw this Russian mapping over Nedenov, which previously we have mapped it as the Russians gave up this area here, lining the front line just below of Kamishevka. But because of this latest development that the fighting is actually near Malaya Loknia, so the Russians actually have presence around this area here. But this will not affect Ukrainian mapping because this is a possible presence. We cannot confirm this information, so we will leave this as it is, as the Ukrainians fight in the region of Malaya Loknia and Pograbki. So that's about it for this area, and I believe these are all the frontline changes, so not very significant. So the past 24 hours, the frontline changes are less intense. Only one major frontline change is over at Vodyane, where the Russian forces have captured Vodyane. Why do I suddenly become so dark? So anyway, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys watch the conclusions, and I'll see you guys in the next update.